Welcome to this week's episode of Syrup Shots Gaming, and I said it right this time, Dave.
Oh, you got over your case of Bell's palsy. That's good.
Little victories. I'm one of your hosts, Tyler, and the guy making fun of me there is Dave.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Hugo. Happy birthday to... For those of you who don't know, this past week, one of our other hosts, Chris, had him and his wife, Mickey, had their lovely baby boy, Hugo. That is why he will not be joining us this evening, and probably several more for the next 6 months. And longer.
If he can get sleep, he'll be lucky.
Yes. Sleep is going to now become a hot commodity in his house.
And that man cackling because he's got 2 kids and has already gone through all this is James.
Yep. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, wow.
We're a couple friends who get around these microphones every week and just go over, a different topic in video games that we want to talk about. This week, we're going to talk about hype and how it's both awesome and terrible. But first, what have you guys been playing this week?
Well, I actually have still been working on Killer is Dead, the game I started up probably about 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play it at all last week. And this week, I've been rather busy, so if I get time for it this week, it might be a surprise too. But I'm really enjoying it. I really love the punk aesthetic that Grasshopper Manufacture brings to their games. I really like the art style, and actually, it is kind of giving me some ideas for some of my own art pieces in the future, because I really like it's a cell shaded art style, but it's that kind of really kind of dark, like Sin City comic book aesthetic done in color. But what's kind of cool is that instead of just pitch black in the background and you kind of blending into it, it's usually like a gradient from like a dark black to like a dark blue or a dark purple. And it really kind of just is a nice kind of cool saturation in the game. And, for all you art nerds out there, that's something I do want to try for maybe a future art piece of my own in the not too distant future. The plot is delightfully weird. It is absolutely what I was looking for. There are a lot of weird moments and a lot of things that still have not been explained outright. So I'm hoping there's like a big kind of like climax point that explains everything. Otherwise, it's just going to kind of be left weird to be weird. But I did encounter, actually, though, the last level I played, if you get like I didn't realize this, but I got the like launch edition, like the day one, I guess before it was day one editions.
Mm-hmm.
And it just came with a free DLC, which was an extra episode in the game. Not really an extra level. And it's not one that's necessarily really pertinent to the storyline necessarily, just kind of a fun one. In it, you go up against fighting vampires instead. And what's funny is that you have all these like undead in the level and stuff. And I was running through the level, and I found a barrel in like this old castle that's just bonking around. And I'm like, what is going on? So I blast it open, and out pops Juliet Starling in a cameo, and she is the main character from Lollipop Chainsaw. Just bursts out, wink, and then jumps away, and I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. That was just kind of a nice, fun little touch, just to have that. It was just out of nowhere. It didn't do anything, but it was just neat to have.
Nice.
The fact that games can have fun with themselves like that, the little Easter eggs, I love those. Like, when you find all the Mario pictures in like Ocarina of Time and stuff like that, that's just fun for me.
Or the wasn't it like a stuffed Yoshi and Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes?
Oh, it was like a Yoshi and Mario bobblehead, and it was even better if you shot Mario. He made the 1-up noise, and then your health would increase ever so slightly.
Mm-hmm.
And that was during the fight with Cyborg Ninja, so you could just go in the corner, blah 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 blam, increase your health back up if you weren't doing so well.
Very nice.
Yep.
James, what have you been playing?
As I mentioned via text, my second ever JRPG, Disgaea 5. My first being, and this is controversial, I know, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. The reason being is I've discovered with JRPGs, they have the mindset of, hey, we know our game is great, so we know you're going to really want to play these levels over and over again, so we're going to make that a requirement for you to advance before you beat the game. And I'm not normally exposed to that.
Well, that only works for good JRPGs, because there are some that are garbage that have that requirement. It wasn't a bad one, but the game I played before Killer is Dead was, actually, the last one I played last year was Knights of Azure, which I liked the character designs. I thought the plot was interesting, but the gameplay loop was rather boring. And what was even worse is it was a rushed translation job.
Ooh.
So, there were constant times where there were misspellings and just some and weird sentence structure that I'm like, okay, I'm an art teacher for a reason. It's because I don't do well on punctuation and the rules of English. But if I'm noticing it, it's bad.
Was it All Your Bases Belong to Us bad?
Well, they misspelled the main character's name a couple of times. Most of the game, it's Arnis is the main character's name. But when you go to the trophies, it asks, did you fully level up Anders? Who's Anders? You just did a terrible job. Okay, guys, gotcha.
Nice.
One of my former coworkers was learning Spanish, and I happen to know some. So in our work chat, I would sometimes talk to him in Spanish, and I couldn't help but put translation fails engineered into my Spanish communication. I would say things along the lines of, do you want to go to lunch at Hot Dolphin?
Okay.
In Spanish.
Oh.
And then enjoy his confusion.
Nice. Hot Dolphin. I can't even. What were you even trying to get with Hot Dolphin? Okay.
That's inspired from Venture Brothers.
Nice. Gotcha.
But, yeah.
Are you enjoying Disgaea 5?
I am. The turn-based tactical movement and all the stuff.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
While not having the frantic button mashing, has been a wonderful change of pace.
I wanted to get into that series, but I saw I'm also very picky now with what my time goes to. So How Long to Beat has become one of my best friends as a website, and I was seeing the time commitment for that series, and I'm just like, oh man, there's 5 games in that series already with all the side games as well. But I did buy the anime.
Just 5.
Yeah, but I did buy the anime series, however, which is based off of the first one. And that was charming, as well as it was hilariously stupid and funny at the same time. The plot was
Penguin as well.
The Prinnies. Yeah, dude.
Yes.
Yep. Did they still say dude? Yep. That was great, but the plot was basically that the son of the Lord of Demons, Laharl, has come back to claim his father's throne because his father died choking on a biscuit.
Oh, jeez.
And so he teams up with another girl demon and then an angel who has been sent down to preach the gospel of the good word to the lost souls to try and convert them. And so she reluctantly becomes like a party member to this whole ordeal. It was great. And then I've like read that like one of the side games is all about the Prinnies, where like you have only like 1,000 of them, so like 1,000 lives. And the quest is to retrieve the missing panties for one of the main characters. Again,
The preemies are just.
uh,
Go ahead.
further proof that whatever drugs Japan has, America's not getting them.
Yeah. The preemies are these convicted souls that are doomed to be in penguin form in hell for eternity. And they have to end every statement with dude. And they're
But the
treated as just this disposable commodity. Like, have trouble with an enemy? Just throw a prinny at it. It'll explode upon impact.
Yep.
Oh, jeez.
And dude is pronounced dude, and it's spelled out DOOD in the game, I believe.
Yep.
How about
Very
yourself,
nice.
Tyler? What you been
So-
playing?
Oh, James, you had something? Oh,
I was just saying that was fun.
I've been playing two things. So one is I've been getting into Guilty Gear XR Rev 2, getting ready for Guilty Gear Strive. That game is so much fun, and Dave knows about this already, James. But I have finally decided I'm going to learn a new instrument.
Okay, I have like 3 questions.
Okay,
What?
I've got 3 answers.
Where
Listeners, for those of
and
you who
why?
didn't, for those of you who didn't see it, Tyler held up his new is that an 8-button arcade fighter controller?
It is. It is the Mayflash Arcade Stick F300, and it's
That answers what?
yeah. I got it from Amazon. That answers your where. And why? It's because I've always wanted to learn how to play arcade fighters, arcade style, but never really had a means to it. I found this on sale, and I'm finally gonna learn. I'm gonna throw Hadoukens like you're supposed to. So it's gonna be a learning curve. I can already tell I'm not as good as I am, without it, but I'm enjoying it. It's got a great kind of tactile feel to while you're playing games.
I gotcha.
Please
No,
tell
I
me
know-
you're putting quarters in someplace as well.
I'll never tell.
Just for the full experience. Like between a dress or something.
He's carved a small hole and put a 25-cent sticker next to it, putting quarters in the slot.
So I do actually one day want to make a PC cabinet that looks like an arcade cabinet. So
Nice.
I have
so it
that
would have
dream as well.
yeah, and it'll have the arcade sticks on the top there, but it will open up to a drawer of all the other controllers.
Nice.
So that's one
Now,
thing. And then,
are you going to mod this
like
like you did?
ergonomic.
Oh, sorry.
what'd you say, James?
Oh, I just said I like ergonomic more.
Nice.
This is actually a better example. That is my mouse.
Okay.
I was just wondering if you were going to mod it like you have your controllers, Tyler, because I know some people can do it. That there's like a light up LED light around each button, and it turns on as you depress the button and everything.
Eventually, I am actually. Do I have it handy? I am getting ready to do the last mod on my controller. So this is a controller where I've modded to do LED lights for the analog sticks and the buttons.
Mm-hmm.
But I am actually going to solder in back buttons, and trigger stops.
Nice.
So that way I can jump without taking my hand off the right analog stick. But the other game I've been playing has been kind of fun. It's the demo of Outriders. I know I was telling you about it, Dave. So James, Outriders is a new third-person shooter from Square Enix, where it's got the game mechanics of Mass Effect in terms of like abilities and then guns. But it's much snappier and much, quicker, kind of like Gears of War, but with a loot system closer to Destiny or Diablo 3. And in fact, it even has world levels, kind of like Diablo does, where you can change how difficult enemies are in the world, but it also changes how good of loot you drop. And you don't have to play with others online. It does not have to be a shared world.
Nice.
Ooh.
It is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I tried it two
Out
different
on
ways.
First. That's not ominous at all.
What'd you say? Oh, April 1st, yeah.
I said out on April 1st. And then I said, that's not ominous at all.
Yeah, watch this just be an elaborate April Fool's joke for the gaming.
Yeah.
They always do something crazy on April Fool's Day.
So I've been...
like
just a nice segment of the hype. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was going to say, what are they going to promise this year for April Fool's Day? Hey, Nintendo's going to give you good online.
Well, I know they're redoing it, but I don't have my fingers crossed. Yeah, I know they've said they were redoing the infrastructure for how they're doing it. They've been doing it. But that online system has existed since apparently the Wii days. So
yeah,
I don't have my fingers crossed because, Nintendo eventually does the right thing, but they're going to do everything wrong before they finally get to it first, in some cases.
And sometimes they go backwards. So they announced the new Pokemon Diamond and Pearl games this week, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it had me kind of reminiscing when I played the originals. And I remembered something about the originals that you won't be able to do on the Switch. Voice chat. You could do online player voice chat on the original DS, but you can't do it on the Switch.
Oh, wow. This is just further proof that at times you can tell that Nintendo is very stuck in their old Japanese origin business ways. And I'm like, guys, that may have worked well for the 70s through through the late 80s, but there are some things you very much need to come to the 21st century on.
Well, part of me is wondering if they've always been like, hey, we're not going to invest in online because we want people to get together. We want them to actually hang out in person and play together.
Yeah,
and then,
but I think then a thing called, this little, just a little thing happens, it's called coronavirus. Yeah.
And I just imagine like Nintendo's just sitting over there like Job from Arrested Development. I've made a huge mistake.
Yep. But we still want families to get together. Oh, Grandma's dead now. Oh.
Fourth controller's open.
Nice.
All right.
Very fun.
So,
alrighty.
Sounds like we've been playing a lot of... I'm sorry, what, James?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, for me, the online has not been a big deal because I, in my current existence, have to be able to hop on or hop off a game with about a minute's notice.
Yeah.
And when it comes to online play, I've never cared so much to play with strangers because I would rather have fun with you guys. The only game that finally got me out of that funk was Monster Hunter World, because even then I could at least, mute them, and we're all sharing a common goal. We're not competing.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, if I'm the one who's invited them at the same time, it's just like, Okay, you've got carded 2 times, and all the rest of us are pulling the weight. I'm booting you.
Fun times. So
Mhm.
let's get into our topic of the week. Let's talk about
Yeah.
hype for a second. So, kind of going back to Pokemon, that's kind of what kind of stirred me to talk about this week. So,
Mhm,
Nintendo
mhm,
had their 25th anniversary. By the by,
mhm.
oh darn, we're missing that Post Malone Pokemon concert right now.
Darn.
Which
Are we gonna have to get our Bud Light seltzer as well? Darn.
slight tangent here. Who at Nintendo went? We need a musician to really be the face of Pokemon. Let's go.
Yes. Post
Let's
Malone.
let's go with the guy that looks like he went through a printer mishap and just tattooed everywhere.
Ah,
I am proud to say that even if someone offered me $1 million to do so, I cannot name one of his songs.
same.
I can only because it's on the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack.
I still haven't seen that one. I know.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I should. I should. I just haven't yet.
I
Hands down,
have. It was enjoyable.
I I'm gonna go past enjoyable. I'm gonna say it's the best Spider-Man movie there's been thus far.
Wow.
Well, yeah, that's not a
Mm.
high bar.
Mm.
Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 was good.
Which one?
Mm.
The one that's actually
Yeah.
called Spider-Man 2. The one with Alfred Molina as Doc Ock.
Oh, okay.
I didn't dislike Far From Home. I thought that was pretty good.
I actually haven't gotten a chance to see that one yet.
Okay.
But so Pokemon Direct this week, 25th
Mm-hmm.
anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
The community was so psyched. They were so pumped.
Mm-hmm.
And then they unveiled it. What everyone had hoping for. Diamond and Pearl remakes. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I personally thought yes. And it looks faithful, just upped graphics. I'm loving it. I'm excited. And then
Yeah,
they
the
showed sorry, go ahead.
I was just the overworld art style they've kept very similar. It's kind of reminding me of the remake of Link's Awakening, actually, and that kind of toyetic look. But
Yeah,
it's also kind of nice though. Then when you go into the battle, it switches to like the new style graphics that they have for um, Sword and Shield.
Mm-hmm. So I love that. And then they announced Pokemon Legends Arceus. And that looked amazing in my mind.
That does look cool. I read up on that, and it's kind of like steampunk Pokemon because it's before there was like leagues and stuff, and the Pokeballs are wooden and steam powered.
So I actually kind of go into the Pokemon lore there. In Gen 2, there is a man who can make Pokeballs, and he uses these
Hmm.
uh, apricorns, is what they're called.
Yeah. Hmm.
So I wonder if these Pokeballs are just hand carved apricorns.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
so I was excited. And then I made the mistake that anyone does. I looked at Reddit,
Oh,
and people are upset.
if ever there was a hive of scum and villainy, that was Reddit.
Yeah. So people were upset because they were expecting it to be done in the Sword and Shield style, completely
Hmm.
open world. And then a lot of people were complaining about Pokemon Legends because it looked a little grainy. It had a little bit of choppiness to it.
Well, this is like the pre-alpha kind of build of the game.
Right. Not only that, it's the Nintendo Switch. It's
Hmm.
not the powerhouse that is the PS5 or the Xbox Series X.
Yeah,
It's
or a
never
souped-up PC. I mean,
right.
yeah. Hmm.
So people's hype levels of getting excited set the bar so high
That
that
it
they
sets
were
IQs plummeting, in my opinion.
yeah. So I wanted to kind of talk to you guys and your thoughts on getting hyped about a game coming out or announcements, and yet maintaining reasonable expectations so that way you're not overly disappointed.
I gotcha.
So let's start with kind of our history here. Is there an example of a time where you guys got like super hyped about a game and then was slightly let down or very let down by the time you actually played it?
Well, I guess I kind of could say that in general because I guess I'm old enough that I used to be the person like all the way through college and into like my very late 20s that I was reading like the gaming news websites daily. I would read up on everything. And then I just noticed that as I was playing games, it's not that, they were necessarily bad, but it's just like the magic of discovery and not knowing wasn't there anymore. And so I actually rarely go to gaming websites like Kotaku, IGN, and those news websites for video games anymore. Just because it's to the point though that it's just like almost like I'm old enough. I guess I don't care as much about that kind of stuff because I don't want to just spoil the experience for me. Like, I went into Ghost of Tsushima knowing it's a game about samurai, and that was it. And it was just this wonderful, lovely experience. But I'm sure that if like I had watched all of this other stuff, and kind of read more and more and more into it. I would have known a whole lot more, and then none of those things would have been as surprising. So that's why I stopped doing it. Now there are something. It's not like I'm completely illiterate to this stuff anymore. Absolutely not. It's just I've specifically chosen and kind of made my Facebook feed be for specific companies that I actually, really enjoy.
Mhm.
And basically, whenever they post like a Facebook update, saying, like, hey, like Pokemon 25th anniversary, there was that.
Mhm.
And it's like, and I found out that stuff about Pokemon Legends Arceus. But it's like I've fallen back more on word of mouth with you guys, and then like the Facebook posts from these companies, rather than just getting this constant stream of information. And then also, I'm on Reddit a lot too, and they'll post games. So I'm like member of a lot of subreddits. So if I'm scrolling through and see something interesting, that's that. But I don't explicitly read gaming websites anymore for that very reason.
Fair enough.
To keep myself at the appropriate level of hype, I guess.
I go ahead.
No, no, it's just, but I'm trying to remember like a specific example of for myself where like a game was so overhyped. But I think more so, it's like I've always reading about the like situations where the consumers in general get way overhyped, and it's just like, guys, it was never going to match this level of uh,
Mhm.
insanity that you had prepared for it. All right, you go ahead, James.
For me, um, well, I know of Kotaku. I don't know if I've ever really spent more than 15 minutes on it in my entire life, like total
Mm,
elapsed time.
Mhm.
I try to I actively avoid getting excited about something before it's released most of the time, unless I have played something in this series before
mm,
and I really like it. In which case, I will allow myself to get just really excited about it. Now, a recent time that I got burned was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
mm.
I played the ever loving stuffing out of the previous ones way back in the day.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did something I rarely do nowadays. I pre-ordered it. Like, I was all in on this. And my Joy-Cons at the time had a bit of a drift issue. And after all this time, they somehow went back a step.
Hmm. Well,
Like, it wasn't as polished and like whoa as the previous entries were, despite having tons more time to
yeah.
develop this.
And wasn't it a completely different developer? Because I thought the original team was like long since gone.
I think you're right, Dave.
Oh, I don't even know.
And I believe even, and I think
Probably.
Nintendo even published it. So,
Mhm.
which was very surprising to me because Nintendo doesn't often publish games they don't necessarily own or have interest in owning. So, but there have been, some very, and that's a different topic, but they have done that on a surprising few occasions. I was just surprised that was one of them.
Another one was Star Wars Battlefront.
Mm.
I even the original. I played once again the ever-loving stuffing out of the ones I think they were on the PlayStation 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Battlefront 2 on the PlayStation 2 was amazing. It had just these tons of features. It is a awesome game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I thought, once again, lots of time has passed. They already had this great thing to work with. Lots of awesome stuff in that. They just have to build on it a little bit, tighten up the graphics. They've got a kick butt game.
Mm-hmm.
No, they just hollowed out all those features, and
They were basically
it's
just
okay.
they were banking on the success of the name, so
Mhm.
it was Battlefront in name only, from my understanding.
Pretty much.
EA does what EA do.
Yep.
Ironically, my overhyped game that kind of came back to bite me a little bit is also from EA, and it just it finally passed away this week. Rest in peace, Anthem. So,
I remember you telling me about it before it was released, how excited you were.
oh
Mm-hmm.
man, it basically looked like, hey, you're a bunch of different Iron Men, just flying around, kicking butt, shooting things up, exploring this alien planet, and there's gonna be tons of these great visual spectacles to kind of go through and play, and they're going to be constantly new missions and whatnot. Game comes out, there's an open world that's
Mm-hmm.
all forest, so you could either be in this forest area or that forest area. Well,
Okay.
that forest area's got a couple more trees. That one has a lake.
Oh.
Um, and
So this planet had one biome.
yeah, pretty much. And
Hmm.
the story was okay, but once it was done, I was like, okay, we're in the end game now. This is where these games and services really shine. And there was no compelling loop. There was nothing to keep going back to it.
Hmm.
And it just it hurts so much because I saw so much potential in that game. If they had just created a clearer image of what the continuing game would have been. It felt kind of muddled of what they were going for. It was like
Mm-hmm.
half Mass Effect, but only in the first person in the town part. And then the battle systems had guns, and you keep getting new loot, but they all felt the same. They all worked the same. And there wasn't a very deep skill tree either, so it wasn't like you could customize your character to be very different from other ones. And that's just kind of where it was a letdown, was they could have done so much to keep it fresh, and keep people coming back. And I
Mhm.
just was sold the image of flying around that I lost sight of what the full game would look like.
Mm. Yeah, and that was another one that I would say the community really hyped up, and just some of these companies, it's just like they're perfectly happy to let that hype train go and get that initial money, but then sometimes they just fall flat on their faces when they can't back it up. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember though, and this is one though where I could see the hype train was leading to basically a train wreck. And at the start, I hear it has gotten much better,
No
but
Man's
No
Sky.
Man, exactly. No Man's Sky was one that I'm just like, guys, it's not going to be what you think it is at the start. I didn't even think, because I'm just sitting there. I'm like, why is everybody getting so hyped up for this game? And I'm just literally like, I don't even know this company. And then I had searched, and sure enough, all they had made up to that point is 3 games for basically, phone services that were ported to consoles, all in the Joe Danger series. Oh yeah, Joe Danger.
He's
The
gonna be the
great
next
video
Smash
game.
DLC.
Oh, exactly. He's going to be, a character and a me costume. And then I'm just sitting there reading. I'm like, who the heck is Joe Danger? And how cliche sounding, or it sounded like a milk toast game. As I'm reading, I'm like, what the heck is this? And I'm just like, and you guys are expecting this company that has made 3 phone games to make this massive world of a game, that could do this and this and this and this. And I'm like, that's not going to happen. Now it's finally getting to that point 4 years after it came out that it is actually starting to live up to those promises. But at the time, it's just like, I think you could have done a bit of damage control just by saying, hey, guys, we're glad you're excited, but at the same time, we do want to, kind of say, hey, let's. But they're perfectly happy because they're getting that pre-order money.
Pre-orders.
Mhm. Man, I really only
No.
do them anymore if it's like, yeah, I do them if there's like a cool special edition, and it's for a game series I have played before and I like. So I've got a couple around here, like right over here. I got the bookend Mortal Kombat 9 with
Oh,
Scorpion and Sub Zero, and I think you
mm-hmm.
did the same with Mortal
10.
Kombat 10 to get that Scorpion statue. So I mean,
Yeah, I
I'll
got in the
do it for
collector's
that
edition.
because, but then it's like, I'm getting the cool statue in the game, and it's kind of a bonus for doing that. But I did think of a game that I pre-ordered for the hype and was severely burned by it. Because as I'm looking, I'm like, I got a lot of collector's edition statues around here, but there's one I have tucked in the corner that's kind of like out of sight, out of mind. The Order 1886.
Oh,
Hmm. Yeah, there were parts I loved in that game, but it was also what, like 4 hours long.
From what I understood, it was a great tech demo for the PS4.
Yes, that's really what it was. And I was just like, I was getting hyped for it because the werewolf has been my favorite movie monster since I was little. And it's just like, you're hunting werewolves in this game. That's awesome. It's a steampunk world, and you're being supplied all your cool weapons by Nikola Tesla. That's awesome. And the game comes out, and it's like 4 hours long. And then, yes, I am hunting werewolves, but there is only 3 actual werewolf fights. And all the
Ugh.
rest of the time, it's them in human form shooting guns back and forth at you. I was, that was one where it's just like, I am deeply regretting my collector's edition purchase of this game because I have this little statue of Sir Galahad over here who definitely has not earned his spot in the great annals of gaming history.
It's things like that that actually made me develop a metric to help me decide if the game I bought was worth it. And I've have dollars per hour of entertainment. How much should I pay for it? How much have I played it? For example, one of my favorite games, Fallout 3.
Mm-hmm.
I got on clearance used secondhand for $6. I plugged over 100 hours into that easy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a very low dollar per hour entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I try to avoid buying a lot of games at full price or $60, mainly one because they do have the hype,
Mm-hmm.
and given how I have such a backlog anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not going to get to it right away, so I might as well wait until the price goes down.
Actually, I'm dealing with that myself right now. I really want to play Bowser's Fury for the Switch,
Yeah.
but I have a Wii U still. I really like it. Um, but I played the original 3D World almost to absolute completion. I collected all the stars. I collected all the stamps in the game. The only thing I didn't do was unlock like the final challenge world, because to get that, what I had to do was get a perfect jump on the flagpole, to get it from the top.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, I'm not doing that. And but I did everything else, and it's just like, Bowser's Fury is a nice bonus to that game. But I'm like, I've already beaten that game, and I don't know if Bowser's Fury, which is like a 6-hour experience, is worth $60. The problem I'm also having with it is that because it's a Nintendo game, it's going to stay $60 for quite a long time. So,
Yeah.
Forever.
And if you get it just right, maybe it'll be 45.
yep,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to wait till I find it used. And it's not that I don't want to give Nintendo my money, because I want them to keep doing cool things. It's just like, I gave you $60, like, how long has it been since? Oh gosh, that must have been 2013 because it launched the same week as the PS4, and that's why it was so upsetting, because Knack outsold Super Mario 3D World, and Super Mario 3D World is by far the better game.
But you've got Knack 2.
There are some games that are just proof that the creator doesn't like us some days.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I didn't think there were parts of Knack that, like, it was cool to see all of these like shapes form this big giant kind of free floating piece magnetic mech. That the graphics and art style was cool at times. And then you also grow to the size of a kaiju for like the final big battle of the game. But then there's other times where you're playing, I'm like, this game is trash. And it was hard at times too. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, dinner is coming back to visit everybody.
Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Actually, it was potatoes.
Always a good choice.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So getting over hype can be a bad thing, but what about part of hype is speculation, what you think might happen. So where do we draw the line of speculation overstepping its bounds? And I'll give you a prime example. 2 characters left for Smash.
Oh yeah, people are going nuts.
People are going cray-cray. Or there was the Grinch leak that everyone thought was going to be true.
It wasn't. No.
No.
And even you and I, before the podcast and like the pre-show, we were talking about a supposed leak that has been gaining more credence about a concert that actually is going to be like they did this for Melee years ago. After everything was finished up, they did an actual orchestral concert where they played tracks from the game, and then they actually printed CDs, and you got it free in an issue of Nintendo Power. Now, according to this leak, they are doing the same thing. The orchestra has already, been slowly preparing for this concert, and the plan is to again do CDs, but like they did with Smash for Wii U and 3DS, they're going to, make it be available via My Nintendo services. And he goes, they're going to have a song for each franchise represented in the game, or like one for each like grouping of characters. So there'll be like one Mario characters track, one Donkey Kong characters track, and he goes, yeah, and but the last two that they here's two though that belong to characters that have not been announced, and one was like Insanity Beach, which is from the Crash Bandicoot series of games, and then the last one was I forget, I'm going to butcher the title, but it was the name of a Monster Hunter track that's like specifically for hunters. And so the speculation then goes, oh, we're going to get Crash Bandicoot and a Monster Hunter. And again, I'm not opposed to that, but then again, anytime that I see it that says, this leak comes from 4chan, I'm like, oh, well, I got to take this with a grain of salt the size of the known universe.
Plus, it's going to be Wario.
Wario's already.
Waluigi.
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 At this point, I don't want it to happen just to keep the memes alive, because Sakurai is a troll. He loves it, and I love it too. And I love that in each Smash game there has been that troll character, and I love it so much. It is hysterical. The first game, Jigglypuff. Second game, you had Pichu. Third game, you had Rob the Robot. Fourth game, Wii Fit Trainer. What? And then finally, in Ultimate, we have Piranha Plant. Oh, Chef Kiss. That's just beautiful to me. And then you can also play as the other 4 troll characters.
Yeah.
I
remember one time I got on with Tyler and we were double Pichu in team battles online.
Oh, wonderful.
I can't remember. Did we win any of those matches? I don't think we did.
We got booted because we were so bad from a few of those matches. Where we were like sprinting off the screen accidentally, and it disconnected us because it said that we were doing so poorly.
Oh, that we were trying to kill ourselves.
Nice.
So, do you think it's wrong to kind of speculate and kind of theorize what's going to come out? And it could be for Smash characters, it could be for Nintendo Directs, Sony State of Plays.
No, it's great to theorize, but I'm just getting sick and tired of people that being like, "Oh, the theory should work because it's this and it's this and it's this," and it's just like, no, it doesn't have to be that. It's fun to speculate, and it is fine to do that. But when your speculation evolves into this
Expectation.
weird kind of, exactly, that's when you're going to set yourself up for disappointment. And I think that's what some people have a real big problem with it. Like it's fun. Like I've been part of Reddit conversations, and like one guy brought up, I was on the Metroid forum, and he's just like, Samus always like losing her powers for some stupid reason has been kind of overdone, but it is kind of a trope in the game. And he goes, "No, I'll admit, Metroid Other M, did it the worst, where, oh, she had them all, she just couldn't use them. How would you do it better?" And so I just got him, what I would do is I would have her be in like like a space station or like a Galactic Federation outpost. The outpost is attacked and is about to blow, and she can't get the suit back before she has to escape. And so, like, you start the game basically at zero suit, and the first thing you got to do in the game is literally find a Chozo outpost to get, rearmed up. And I'm like, well, that's how I do it. That is speculation. And everybody else was like, hey, that's a good idea. And you can slowly find it over the course of like the beginning parts of the game. And that'd be a great reason to explain why you don't have those power ups from the last game. They blew up.
Kind of a Die Hard 1 kind of.
Yeah.
Choose.
Yep.
Yeah, he was just relaxing.
Yep. No, and that's speculation. That's fine. That's fun. But at the same time, though, my mind would be blown if someone, like responded to me years from now, like, your prediction about how it happens in Metroid Prime 4 wasn't correct. I'm like, that's because you're stupid. That's why.
You didn't have a crystal ball to. Yeah.
My magic 8-ball from Shazam wasn't working that evening.
Well,
now, as much as I do like waiting, I typically don't buy hype 95% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, the few games that I have gotten on day one, there is a little magic to it. Just when it's a good game or a decent game, there is some magic going and playing at the same time everyone else in the world is. Usually when I get to a game, I am just going down a well-trodden path and I'll explore it for myself, but in the whoa moments, like I look online and there's discussion forums from like 5 years ago that I'm that late to the party.
Yeah.
When it comes to other things for me, I only really everything is speculation until the company actually says something. And when they do, I make it a point to listen to what they have to say. Because some people, sometimes it seems like they don't, and then it gets a little out of hand. But that's why I liked Smash Brothers Ultimate's reveals all the time, because, rather than, keep the speculation running rampant, eventually it comes out, we will have a trailer being revealed, in the next week, explaining who's coming to Smash Brothers, and then we get a cool theatrical style trailer. That's the kind I like. Not to say that game companies don't selectively choose their words. No, yes, they do that. But at the same time, I also selectively say things, listen, and then like I'll go online and see people are like, well, it said they're going to do this, and I'm like, no, it didn't. But it looks like James has a counterpoint to me. What's up?
Sometimes even what they say, I don't believe. I wait for them to walk their talk before I truly believe it. Now, Nintendo, yeah, I believe them more than a lot of other publishers. Like with Smash Brothers, when they say this character's going to be in there, they haven't proven that. They haven't lied yet.
I also like how they're forthcoming with some things, though, that like other publishers just like won't be at times. We've talked about this before. I am a little disappointed, though, that like this past week, I know Pokemon is having the 25th, and that is, honestly, aside from Mario, it's probably their best, most selling video game franchise of all time. But Legend of Zelda, yeah, I'm counting like world, because also Mario had a 35th anniversary last year, and I think Zelda was supposed to be like last week's. And the only talk of it that Nintendo really had was that Skyward Sword HD is coming. Now, I would have liked them to have discussed more. I would have liked them to have had a few more maybe like events going for kind of these things. Like I would, but again, we're in we're in a pandemic, so it's not like they could re-announce, oh, well, we're having the Symphony of the Goddess like concert tour come back. Well, they can't really do that. But I do like that they were able to come out and kind of say, though, hey, for Breath of the Wild 2, we know you're probably expecting some news, but honestly, we just don't have any right now. And then also with Metroid Prime 4, they kind of had to say, look, we started with one developer. We didn't like where it was going, so we've gone back to formula with that. And it's disappointing to hear, but at least it's honest.
Yeah, true.
So
I think Skyward Sword, as I mentioned on the group text,
Mm-hmm.
I heard Sky, I heard re-release HD,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought, how did Bethesda sneak into this?
They already did it for Switch already.
Yeah, well, I own it on the Switch.
Yeah. Got to get them Legend of Zelda costumes.
so real
I've
fast.
spent more than 300 hours on the Switch on it.
Wow.
So
What you
real
saying, Tyler?
So real fast here, because I was curious. I am looking at the Wikipedia article for a list of highest grossing media franchises.
Okay.
Pokemon's number one.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's not just for video games. It beats Mickey Mouse. It beats the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It beats Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
It has earned a total revenue of an estimated $100 billion with a B.
Mm. Yep.
Yeah.
Number two surprised me, though. Any guesses on what number two is?
Um.
My Little Pony.
Who? I don't have a guess.
Hello
That was
Kitty.
not a serious guess.
Okay, that would have
What?
been a good one. I do get Hello
What was
Kitty.
it?
Hello Kitty.
It was
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. $84.5 billion.
But she's been around for God.
Since
I mean,
1974.
Yep, I was thinking it was the mid '70s, and that's one of the few characters that Sanrio, because they they kind of recycle and make new ones all the time. But that's one they've been able to hold on to for well past 4 decades. So, but to think about that Pokemon made more than that in half the time is just really speaks to its player base and attraction that it has.
Mm-hmm. Everyone just wants to be a prize dog fighter.
Basically.
Did you both get the one that the Pikachu that sings?
Not yet. I still have to download it. You don't have Sword or Shield, do you, Dave?
Not yet. Nope.
There's for the 25th anniversary, you can download a Pikachu that knows the move Sing.
Oh, nice. That's funny. Nope. I've been meaning to, but I'm afraid because I put probably about in the matter of probably 2 weeks, I put like 120 hours into Pokemon X, and so I'm afraid. And and I want Mega Evolutions to come back because I liked those.
I am curious. So I'm going to do some speculation now.
Okay. Speculate away.
I am curious if Mega Evolutions are going to come back for the Diamond and Pearl remakes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the Pokemon in that could, Mega Evolve. And based on the lore of Pokemon, you can't have Gigantamax in the Sinnoh region.
Okay.
So it's a matter of what mechanic are they going to use? Or are they going to
Gigantamax was basically Mega Evolutions as kaiju instead, it seemed like.
Yeah, that's a very accurate description.
But sometimes they look different.
Yep.
So there's how they differentiate it. There's something Max and then Gigantamax.
Dynamax.
Dynamax and Gigantamax. Thank you.
I got you.
And when they look different, they learn a new move.
Ah. See, I
Sometimes,
just wanted a Gigantamax Surfetched, but I wanted him to stay the same size while his sword just grew, and it was eventually like Doug Dimmadome's hat from Fairly Odd Parents. You just never saw the end of it.
uh, of the Gigantamax forms, I think my favorite is got to be um, debating between a couple here. I think it has to be the
Blast.
new. I'm sorry, what?
It just has all the guns.
Oh yeah, Blastoise. Yeah, that's the one I was. I forgot about that one. Yeah, Blastoise is just became a U.S. naval ship with just a bajillion cannons coming out of its back.
Nice.
Sorry, what were you gonna say though?
The other one I was thinking of was and I can't remember his name for the life of me right now. The new water starter final evolution.
Oh,
Um,
Sobble?
yeah, but what's his final form called? Inteleon.
Hmm.
Uh, he doesn't really grow except for his tail. His tail
Okay.
gets super long and he goes straight up and becomes a sniper perch for him.
Nice. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So I think hype can be good. I think it can be fun when you,
Hmm.
but don't get upset when
Yeah, you got to keep your expectations in check.
100% agreed.
Hmm.
99% of the time, games that come out aren't revolutionary.
Hmm.
Played stuff around, you kind of have an idea of what they can and cannot do.
Hmm.
Hmm.
When they're promising things that really aren't seen elsewhere, probably not going to deliver.
It's the old adage, everybody. It's if it sounds too good to be true, chances are it probably is.
Yep.
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 Except for Smash Brothers. They said everyone's going to be there, and by golly, they did it.
Oh yes, they did.
Oh yeah.
I mean, even Microsoft got in on that game. That blew my mind.
I I would love it if somehow they got a single Sony representation in there, and I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's
That's why I still think it's
Crash
possible
Bandicoot.
for Crash Bandicoot because even though he's not the Sony mascot anymore, he certainly was considered it at the time for years until I believe it was Activision who bought him up.
yep,
But that that would be kind of the final end nail in the coffin to the
All
playground
Stars.
arguments. Well, to the
hmm
playground arguments from the late '90s, where we were arguing who was better, Mario,
Mm.
Sonic, Crash.
So real fast here, if Crash comes to it, here's how I want the reveal trailer to be. It will
Hmm.
be the first non-animated reveal trailer. It will be live action.
In costume with the guy's face and the teeth.
Yes, and
Nice.
it'll be him outside Nintendo doing his yelling there, and then someone in a Mario costume comes up.
No, and then they start recreating the original Smash Brothers live action commercial.
Yes, there we
They all
go.
start walking away hand in hand. It starts playing
Me
So
and you
Happy
and
Together
you
by
and
the
me.
Turtles.
Yep.
And then they just start beating the crap out of each other.
That is that would make me so happy.
Uh,
But you know what? If it doesn't happen,
what?
I'm not going to be
Yeah,
heartbroken.
exactly. Yep. We all admit it's a good idea. Nintendo, feel free to steal that one from us if that's what's going to happen.
If that's what
Uh,
happens.
yes.
Sure, I bought Season Pass 1. I haven't bought Season Pass 2. If that happens, Nintendo, you have my money.
Hmm. Well, I think you're getting a great value as it is already because, I mean, heck, Sephiroth was worth it alone. And I really like Min Min, actually. And Steve is just, I can't believe all the work they had to do for Steve because they had to
Steve is
rework every stage.
yeah, Steve is the one character I just cannot get a handle on.
Hmm.
He is so much resource management.
Yeah, and technical ability that you
Hmm.
have to.
Guys,
Uh,
I think that was a good coverage of that topic.
yeah, we
Is there
did a
anything
good
else,
job. Yeah.
guys? You get a thumbs up
Hooray.
with a little wiggle. The thumb
Okay.
wiggled. There
Alrighty.
we go.
Mhm.
So before we sign off today, is there anything else you guys wanted to go over or talk about?
Mm. I'm excited for my PlayStation 5. I was finally able. I've had a very busy, but it turned out to be a rather good week at work. I kind of fell backwards, bottom first into this, but last year at around exactly this time, we wanted to start setting up an esports team for at work for the students, and naturally, COVID was the natural monkey wrench that it has been for everything. That didn't happen. But I was approached actually at the beginning of the semester about starting again by someone who had done a lot of homework and basically just kind of showed me this stuff. So I finally was just like, okay, well, we'll see. And then I was talking to administration, and each time it's like, oh, take it a little further, Dave. Let's see what we can do. I'll take it a little further, Dave. Let's see. Finally got there. That got to the point where it's just like, okay, we're signing up. And so that happened. And then they're like, oh, well, we need to get this official here. So on Monday, I was informed I needed to present to the school board meeting, which was the very next day. And I uh, I was able to, get that presentation off the ground. I kicked its butt. We were then made official that night, and then we had our first practice on Wednesday, and we were going to have our first game on Thursday. But an hour before the game time, the other team forfeited.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
which, a win's a win, I guess. But what's even funnier though is that when I get on to tell the guys, kind of, the double-edged news there, they're also like, "Oh, Mister, we're having trouble. Uh, Xbox Live services are down." Well, I got good news and bad news. But we got that up. And then, sure enough, Tuesday night, though, because I was stressed Monday because I'm like, oh my gosh, I've never presented to the school board before. And I'm
Hmm.
just also like, you know, I'm basically arguing the benefits of video games to people I have never met before and whom a majority are my senior in age. And I've already been kind of given the heads up that the first time we talked about this, it kind of devolved into a violence in video games talk. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this could be a nightmare. But it went so well. So I go home and I'm just, oh, that was amazing. It was great. That went
Hmm.
really well. I'm lying in bed. I'm like, yeah, turn on some Rick and Morty, just relaxing. My phone goes ba-bing. PlayStation 5s will be at stock in GameStop in limited quantities here within the hour. Well, I'll probably be fighting against a bunch of bots, but a man can dream. I mean, I've had a good day. I sit there for 45 minutes. I'm just watching Rick and Morty, but every now and then I'm just like, refresh, refresh. Then I remember, oh, my brother had a method when he got his. Use incognito mode because the website usually looks for your internet cache to tell if you're a bot or not, to see if you've constantly been refreshing the page. So I go into incognito mode and sign and everything and start doing it. Please prove you are not a robot. What? So I have to do one of those capture pictures. Find
Hmm.
every picture that is a stop sign. Add it to cart. And then it's like, wait, what? And then it's like, so I'm checking out. I'm like, oh, this is working. oh, my credit card information. I'm trying to get everything in, and then at the last minute, when it's like, check out, please prove again that you are not a robot. Find every fire hydrant in this picture. Ah, boom. Thank you for your
What
order.
time of night is?
It was probably about like 9:30 at night at this point, Central Time. So, but I'm like, I beat the
Oh.
bots. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
talk about your high stakes test, though.
Hmm.
I mean,
You
you
broke
missed
up
a
a little.
fire hydrant or two.
Yeah.
Talk about your high stakes quiz.
Yep. But I really got to wonder, though, with people who use those bot programs to buy up everything, though, how do those work against CAPTCHA? Because really, it could be, it's a randomized picture. I mean, do they now have programs that can identify photographs on?
Probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
Google Photos, you can do reverse search.
I was gonna say, with Google Photos, if I want to find a picture of one of my dogs, I just type in dogs and it pulls up pictures that have dogs in it.
Hmm. Well, one of the things, though, it was one of those pictures that have been broken up into like 10 squares. It was
Mhm.
like, find every part of this picture that has a fire hydrant in there. So I had to click all the squares that even had like a corner of the fire hydrant. And I'm like, I wonder how well it does with that.
Yeah.
Depends on the
Well,
software.
Yeah.
Congratulations, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Sports, and I debated whether I should ask you this during or after the recording. Are they going to get Letterman's jackets? Please tell me they're going to get Letterman's jackets.
Uh, we'll see. But what's cool, though, is they're already like, we're going to get you your own space. Because every team has their own physical space, and we want you to have that privilege too. But we're also going to try and get you some machines that the students can play on, because they're like, it's okay now for them playing at home to be on their Xbox or their Switch, but we absolutely do not want the students bringing those to school. And I'm like, yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So are they gonna play on PCs or are they gonna get consoles for the
Yeah.
school?
PC. We already got 2 consoles for the school, actually, because when we came up with this idea last year, the local police department got like really into it, and so they donated 2 Xbox One S's to the school. So, yep. But right now, because the students are hybrid, and there's really no ability for after-school clubs to meet in person. So I brought one of those home, because the school internet to try and update an Xbox One on was a nightmare. So I brought it home and I labeled it all. It's basically labeled our high school name and then Hobby Club as the last name, and everything comes through me in my work email and everything too. But I've been plugging that in, and it's just like, can we play Rocket League today? We're sure we can. We can play some Rocket League. Can we play some Apex Legends? Sure, we can play some Apex Legends. Can we play Fortnite? We can play a gun barrel in my mouth. No, I'm kidding. Fortnite, actually, I have grown to. Again, I make fun of it because, again, when I worked in hospitals, the number of Fortnite dance related injuries was not 0. And that frightens me.
Oh, man.
So when you gave your presentation,
First
No.
computer I ever did was
Yeah,
Call
yeah.
of Duty 1.
Hmm?
If
What'd
that
you
gets
say,
you
Jim?
an idea. Oh, no, wait. GoldenEye for the Wii.
Yeah.
Which I was yeah.
I was going to ask Dave, when you gave your presentation, please tell me you had a mic drop moment of, hey, it's going to teach them to cooperate with each other and no one's going to get a concussion.
I didn't necessarily have that
Oh,
moment, but I was able to, because the team we made is Rocket League. That is the
Mhm.
team that had the most interest. But I was able to parlay, that like, hey, especially to some of our older members of the board. We do have some younger members of the board too that look like they're fresh out of college, so they were able to go like, yeah, we know what you're talking about. But when I said, hey, it's soccer with rocket cars, and then I was able to say, we can also, use, the kind of things that we soccer teaches us, working as a team, communication skills, strategy, thinking on the fly, things like that. Unfortunately, the only thing we're not going to have is that, that physicality component. Everybody just, ah, ha, ha, ha. So I guess I had the big laugh comedy moment with that.
Yeah, if they want the physicality with gaming, you'll just have to start your Just Dance club.
And then they asked some good questions of me too. They're just like, hey, we do want to make sure though, if I know my kids though, there have been times though where it's just like, there are like child predators and stuff that want to get on and talk to students and stuff. I'm like, I have to be present at all matches and in at least video contact with the students, that I have to be able to hear them and talk to them. And she's just like, oh, okay. And then the more as we talked about it, and they're talking about getting us a physical space as well, I finally was able to do one moment though that my mom told about years ago, and she's just like, I never cared so much that you played all the video games with your friends in the basement on the weekends because, well, one, I knew where you were and I knew what we had in the house, so I knew you weren't doing anything terrible. And so finally, I was able to just say, and the best thing about having this space, though, is just like my mama always said, I know where you are. And they got like a lot of big smiles, and they're like, "Okay, Mister McCausland, we'll get you." Yeah. But that was this past week. That all happened. So I didn't have a weekday afternoon to myself really until Friday, and even then, I'm just like. So I invited my folks over for dinner, and we just sat and watched Netflix that evening.
Nice.
And that's basically what I did today as well, while waiting to hopefully hear about PlayStation 5 arriving. All right. Well, that was the exciting stuff that's happened to me this week. I guess now Tyler has already threatened that is going to become my nickname on the show, but I'm going to be very upset if he starts calling me it during the showtime.
I don't know what you're talking about, Coach.
Shut up.
If you do happen to get Letterman jackets, I feel like you need to wear it during these recordings.
Yeah, I'll spruce it up and make it look like Captain N, the Game Master from 1985.
I was going to say either that or get Letterman power gloves.
Oh.
Yes! Yes!
Oh.
We'll get them in the school colors and with logos and stuff. Oh.
So,
Oh.
actually, something legitimate that you could do if you wanted to like celebrate them with completing the season.
Mm-hmm.
School colored modded controllers.
Yeah, but that would require trying to get the money to do that, and that can be but that would be a kind of a cool, fun gift for them at the end. But
well, make it like with Letterman jackets; they still have to buy it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we could do that. One cool thing is though, I did as a bonus extra credit class assignment. I had some students say like, "Hey, if you design like a logo for the school esports team, I'll give you extra credit for it." And we had only 2 submissions, which are a little disappointing. But one was actually rather clever. He took the school's logo, which is an Indian, like a Native American face, but he put it in like the Half-Life kind of Valve logo that is round and then has like the little bubble off to the side, and then inside of that he put the power icon, and then he had a few other gaming icons around it as well. But I was like, that works really well, actually.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask a question here. Supposedly this goes well here. That's just one type of game that you could have competitively.
Yes, there's 6 offered through the group we are going through, and
Oh, what are the
yeah,
6? Out of curiosity.
and the thing was that made me mad was the 6th wasn't accepted until last week, which was well after you were supposed to have signed up for the
Mm.
season. But they are Smite, League of Legends, FIFA, Madden, Rocket League, and Smash Brothers Ultimate. I know, and that
Oh,
was the one that was added last week, and I was just like, "Dang it!" I would be
man.
all over that.
I was gonna say you could almost have a separate club just for fighting games.
Mm. We got to go through the program, and also we do have to abide by rules for the program and the school. Like, actually, this program did have Overwatch labeled for high schoolers for a hot minute, but the problem was Overwatch has guns in it and shooting, and people dying. Okay,
And for
okay, Karen, whatever you say. But so then the group that we're going through cut that immediately, but they still kept it for college level and
Mhm.
youth leagues. And youth leagues is where you just sign up as an individual.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they still have the opportunity, but as for school sponsorship for Overwatch, the high school level, apparently some parents can't read the age rating label on a video game box,
Mhm.
and it just blows my mind some days. Just some of the stuff that you've got some kids at the school talking about like some of the worst, most atrocious. I've watched all 3 Human Centipede movies, and I feel fine. I'm not going to give you a ballpoint pen ever again, Timmy. And then it's just like my mom won't let me play Among Us anymore because sometimes the people say bad words on it. All right, all right.
Your mom
Did you remember
realizes you go
to
to public school, right?
exactly? I'm like, you hear worse things on the bus on the way to school, but I mean, uh, how's your dad, the Quaker Oats guy, doing?
This may or may not be coming to my house.
I can't.
I can't see it. What is that?
The human centipede.
Dear God in heaven.
Oh wow. Just when you that should be like rule 35 of the rules of the internet. If you can think of it, it exists. Because my brother and I were wandering through a used bookstore in Michigan one day, and he pulls up this book and he's like, "I didn't think it said this, David. You got to see what this book is called." And it's just like, "What?" And I pulled it, "The Haunted Vagina." I flip it over.
The kinds of books that if you
No,
ever
I
want
read
to
the
talk to
cover.
someone,
I read the back
talk to
cover.
yourself.
It is literally about a woman's reproductive organs that actually is a portal to a like haunted demon filled dimension. And I am just,
Yeah.
it's one of those
Did you
books.
buy it?
No, of course, but it was one of those. I'm like,
Why not?
because it was one of those things. It's just like, is this under $3? Because this is stupid enough for me to actually want to buy. But it wasn't. It was actually like 10, and I'm like, I'm not spending $10
Oh,
on this crap.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
But Dave,
I,
that portal's how you get pillow pants.
For those of you who
no,
don't know, Tyler and I, in early stages of college, introduced each other to movies we hadn't seen. And I think the time I've only laughed so hard I was in tears and boogers were coming out of my nose was when he showed me Clerks 2, and the character Elias talks about the troll Pillow Pants that lives inside of his girlfriend's reproductive canal. And
Yeah,
I
protecting her chastity.
exactly, I lost it. I could not stop. It was just one of those laughs where I'm struggling to get air into my lungs, and eventually it just gets to the point where my body has to go "Ah!" to finally, stop me and get air into my lungs. Oh my god!
It's
Oh,
these kind of books, though, that are best left at someone's house. Like
mhm.
the Gideon prank that Tyler helped me with that one time.
Gideon Frank.
When I bought those $15
Oh,
Bibles from the dollar store.
yes.
We were at one of our friends' houses playing D&D, and he wasn't there, but he wanted everyone to come to his house to kind of just check it over.
hmm
So I bought these 15 Bibles.
In time out here, it should be well documented that he is atheist.
Okay.
Group of what? 6 to 8 people. Just hid them throughout the entire house.
I think one got put in the freezer.
Yes, that was the first one he found. And there's another running joke, because his wife one time accused, she didn't know who, but she accused one of us of not washing our hands when we went to their bathroom. So the running joke was, well, we'll just use chopsticks. That way our hands don't touch anything. So we left a pair of chopsticks on top of the toilet tank. And so his text to one of our group was, he took a picture of the chopsticks on top of the toilet tank and said, "That's cute.
Mhm.
Why is there a Bible in my freezer?" And that person replied, "Oh, it's not just the freezer." And then his response was, quote, "Jesus, they are everywhere."
Oh, nice. Uh,
And about
Tyler,
8 months later, he finally found like the last one.
okay. Tyler, how much time do we have left?
We're actually at a good point here.
Do we have time for the final birthday gift episode to end all birthday gift episodes, or shall we
Sure.
save that for another time?
We can go over that.
Okay. So, a final story for you, fine ladies and gentlemen, the listeners of Cheer Up Shotch Gaming.
And any non-defined gender,
Yep.
gender non-binary.
What we did, it used to be that there was a group of three of us who made it an effort that every time we gave a birthday gift to one another, we tried to make it as obnoxiously impossible to open, to find, to do whatever it may be to otherwise receive said gift. This started way back in like fifth grade, but this was the last one that ended all of the other, that ended it because it was just so outrageously over the top. So I was the receiver. Tyler was one of the two who was giving the gift, and he had
Mhm.
teamed up with the other third party member of that used to do this. And so I had just gotten off a shift working my college job of Dairy Queen, and it was covered in the lovely Dairy Queen, filth, from
Mhm.
a 5 hour shift of being a fry cook. And there are these two chuckleheads in my driveway when I get home at around, 10 o'clock in the evening. And they just say, okay, it's time to get your gift, Dave. And first off, at this time, my birthday had probably been like 4 months beforehand. So, just finally time for them to put all of this nonsense together. And I am trying to remember how exactly. I
It's
know you like. Did you give me a riddle or something to tell me what the
oh,
first part?
I gave you a Rubik's cube in a computer program
Okay.
where each of the squares had a uh,
Uh, okay. Hold on though. But I think that was inside what I
Frozen in
had
a
to find
fantastic way, by the
first,
way.
right? Oh, I think we lost Tyler there for a hot minute, but I'll keep talking. Hopefully, this is still going. So anyway, they give me a like riddle, and basically the location is for me to find the lake, that is by where my parents' house is. And in the lake, I find a rope leading from a pipe, like a drainage pipe from the side of the lake, leading off way out into the water. And so I recognize this rope as not being part of the lake for living there, most of my life. And I start tugging on this thing, and very slowly I start to see this massive blue object slowly coming out of the water. It was kind of like, a mini, the very terrible 1998 Godzilla movie where he breaks up the pier, American. It was where I was. I cannot lift this thing to save my life. It
Can
was
you guys
easy
hear me
to
now?
pull. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
It was
Okay,
easy to pull it because it was so waterlogged and buoyant, but trying to get it out of the water, and when all the water drained, it wasn't so buoyant anymore. So I then had to jump into the lake and slowly drag this thing over to a sandbank several feet away, only for me to realize this is one of these giant plastic tubs with like rope handles that children like put all of their like yard toys and such in. And it is covered in a layer of duct tape on the surface. And so I finally we get it to my driveway, but it was so heavy.
we think we had to put it in my car.
Yeah, we put it in the trunk of your car. You drove, and me and the third guy, we just pushed it and kept it from falling out of the back until we finally got it to my driveway. So we get home, and I start cutting into this, probably about a half-inch thick layer of duct tape on the top of this thing. Finally getting it open to realize why it is so heavy is because the thing is filled about 3/4 full of solid concrete. I am then informed that the other clues are in the concrete. So I don't have a sledgehammer or anything really to help break this up. So I managed to get like a hammer and start breaking pieces off. And finally, after a couple good like lifts and like, and dropping it on the ground, it breaks open. And I keep finding weird things in the middle of it. Like I found like Abs of Steel, the VHS tape in this. And then I
Forgot about
find
that.
2 Rubik's Cubes. I am then given a chair and a laptop, which was 6 coded passwords that I had to enter. The codes were written on the Rubik's Cubes, and I had to solve the Rubik's Cubes to a solid color before I could even read what the password was. I have never solved a Rubik's Cube in my life. So eventually, after probably about 10 minutes of trying to do that, I finally just okay. And I looked at all the appropriate colors and wrote them out on a sheet of paper, and then what is that, an anagram, and then sorted them all out and got all 6 passwords, which were all like anime titles and characters and stuff like that. And then it says I need to go to Arby's and order a number 69 from them. So, to our younger viewers, ask your parents. I go to Arby's. Now, this is by the time it's midnight. There's nobody at Arby's. And so I go there, and then laying outside of the back door of Arby's is a used vacuum cleaner box, very nice, decent size, that, just says for Dave from Tyler and our friend at the time. I get this thing into my car and I drive back home, and it was this point I'm like, guys, am I going to do any more driving around tonight? because I don't think they'd appreciate me opening this here. And then I get told, oh, they're not. So we take it back to my driveway, and I start opening this bag, this box, this vacuum cleaner box. I get into it. It is literally a gigantic bag of Dairy Queen trash, like the day's trash. And it's like, oh, it's somewhere in there. I dig through it and find another duct tape ball monstrosity. And I start cutting through that. And then it's another bag of Dairy Queen trash. So I'm digging through like rotten ice cream and ketchup and partial burgers. I'm probably I'm sitting there thinking they're going to name a disease after me after all this crap I've swimmed through. And then I find this kind of like gigantic cup-shaped form covered in duct tape. I get it open, and it is a giant, like big one of those big gulp cups that they filled with the Dairy Queen fryer grease that you're supposed to go out and dispose of at the night. That goes into a specified grease dumpster. They filled that to the brim, and then that naturally congealed into like this loving, like pudding paste kind of texture. I get into that. There is this envelope about yay big that has been wrapped several times with duct tape and plastic wrap. And finally, after getting through that, $20 gift card to Slackers, which is a local video game store. Yep. And after that, I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore because what it's going to be is one of us is going to be buried alive if we don't stop. Oh my God, that sucked.
But made for a great story.
Oh, it's an excellent story.
Because I want to say, was it a gift for the other guy that we also had like keys that we froze in a giant thing of ice from Arby's?
Yes, we did. We went to the Arby's cooler and we color coded keys to locks, and he had to solve riddles to find the locations of the said keys. Around town, because we would go to like a park and hide it. We would go to like where we worked and keep clue in other employees or coworkers at the time what we were doing, and then they would hide it somewhere and then keep an eye on it throughout the day so that like no one else like grabbed it. And so we did that with him, and we tried to get the box welded shut, but at the time, unfortunately, we couldn't do so. So instead, we just encased it in plaster, like a rock solid block of construction plaster.
We were terrible friends.
It was great. It's great now, but at the time, digging through them, I'm like, I'm going to take all the showers when this is over. I literally think I went for like
funny later.
Yeah, but I think I went for like 3 showers that evening and finally didn't get to bed till like 2 in the morning.
I also think that we had to give you like a week to cool off because you were kind of upset.
Yeah. Well, it's like I deal with enough work. I didn't want to go digging through it at work afterwards. It's one of those situations where I'm like, I am digging away through things that I'm probably going to find like used needles and beep that one.
Marking down the time now.
There's 2.
Oh, curiosity here.
It's funny now.
It's hysterical now.
But
curiosity, did you listen to the beeps from the last episode?
Yes. Hadouken! Hadouken!
Nice.
I was proud of that one.
Yeah. We should just do random video game noises for when we accidentally swear on the show.
Or I should
Mario
do different words have different sounds.
Yes. Oh, so they
Yes.
can figure out what we're
Yes.
saying without us actually saying it.
Yoshi!
No. I told you that a few
Yes.
episodes ago. No.
Yes.
Oh, right.
Guys, this has been another successful episode of Syrup Shots Gaming Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, before we sign off,
Mhm.
any final words, James? Uh-oh. Word solidified.
Articulating.
Mm-hmm. Riboflavin. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Mhm.
Good words. Good words. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Everyone,
Yes.
be safe, be kind, bottoms up.